My lord, your will is my command. I shall obey thee forever.
Go into the world. Give me the names of your church members.
No, I can't name them!
Serpent, this is a house of God. Depart now. I command you in his name, be gone!
After you used me, did you now want to abandon me?
I command you in the name of Jesus to vanish.
You are foolish. I shall make you rest peace. It's time to finally rest.
Please, I don't want to rest now.
Okay, fine. You shall provide for me 20 church members that will be my servant in the
I can
night.
only give you a goat, cow, cat, and duck. But as for my members, I cannot give you. Who gave you all those members? Was it not me?
Ooh, I have Sarswat.
I will be going now. Make sure to provide for me all the names of this church members so that I can choose.
Pastor Daniel was once a humble young man in the quiet village of Umuaka, known for his soft voice and burning passion for God. Every evening, he would gather children under the great Irako tree, preaching about faith and righteousness. God does not look at your poverty, he would say gently, he looks at your heart. The villagers admired him, but no one truly listened beyond polite nods. His church remained empty, his offerings meager. One night, after another disappointing service, Daniel fell to his knees inside the dimly lit church. "Lord, why have you forsaken me?" he cried. The wind howled through the cracked windows, and the candlelight flickered violently. Unknown to him, something ancient had heard his cry, something that did not come from heaven. Days later, a mysterious old man appeared at the edge of the village, dressed in dark flowing robes. His eyes glowed faintly like dying embers. He approached Daniel after a service and said, "Power is not given to those who beg, it is taken by those who dare." Daniel frowned, uneasy. "I serve God, not darkness," he replied. The old man chuckled, revealing stained teeth. "Even your God rewards those with power. Come, I will show you a path where your church will overflow." Though Daniel resisted at first, desperation began to creep into his heart like a silent poison. That night, Daniel followed the stranger deep into the forest, where the air felt thick and unnatural. At the center stood a shrine carved with serpents, their stone eyes glinting under the moonlight. "This is where true power lies," the old man whispered. Daniel hesitated, his heart pounding. "What must I do?" he finally asked. The stranger smiled slowly. "Only a small sacrifice, and loyalty." The ground trembled slightly, and Daniel felt fear, but also temptation stronger than ever before. The ritual began at midnight. The old man chanted in an ancient tongue, and suddenly, the ground split open. From the darkness beneath, a massive black serpent emerged, its scales shimmering like oil. Its eyes burned with supernatural fire. Daniel screamed and fell back. "Do not fear," the old man commanded. "This serpent will serve you, if you accept it." The serpent coiled around Daniel, whispering into his soul. At that moment, something inside him broke, and he said yes. The next Sunday, something had changed. Daniel stood at the altar, his voice now powerful and commanding. A crippled man was brought forward. "Stand up!" Daniel shouted. The serpent's power surged through him, and the man rose instantly. The church erupted in shock and praise. "It is a miracle," they cried. Daniel smiled, but deep inside, he felt a cold presence watching him. The serpent had begun its work. Word spread like wildfire across neighboring villages. People came in thousands, seeking healing and blessings. The once empty church became too small to contain the crowds. Offerings poured in like rain during the storm season. Daniel now wore expensive robes and rode in luxury. Yet every night, he heard the serpent whisper, "More, give me more." He began to fear the very power that made him great. One night, the serpent spoke clearly. "Every miracle has a cost," it hissed. "For every healing, a soul must be taken." Daniel froze in horror. "No. I didn't agree to this," he protested. But the serpent laughed. You agreed the moment you said yes. The next day, a healthy child in the village died mysteriously. Daniel knew the truth, and terror gripped his heart. Daniel tried to ignore the truth, continuing his miracles. But deaths increased, quiet, unexplained, and always following his great healings. He began to avoid looking people in the eyes. "Pastor, you are a man of God," they praised him. But inside, Daniel whispered, "I am a servant of death." The guilt began to eat him alive. Sleep became his enemy. Every night, Daniel saw the serpent swallowing souls, their screams echoing endlessly. He would wake up drenched in sweat. "Let me go," he would cry. But the serpent only tightened its invisible grip. "You belong to me now," it whispered. An old woman approached him after a service. Her eyes were sharp and knowing. "You are not serving God," she said quietly. "I see the serpent behind your altar." Daniel froze. "Leave," he shouted. But her words pierced his soul like a spear. Desperate, Daniel sought help from other pastors. But none could understand his situation. "Pray harder," they told him. But prayer alone could not break what he had willingly accepted. The serpent's laughter echoed louder each day. Miracles started failing. People he prayed for began to worsen instead of healing. Doubt spread among the congregation. "Has God left him?" they whispered. Daniel knew the truth, the serpent was withdrawing its power. "You grow weak," the serpent hissed. "Feed me more, or lose everything." Daniel trembled. "I will not kill for you anymore." The ground shook violently. "Then you will suffer," it replied. A young boy publicly accused Daniel during service. "My sister died because of you," he cried. The church fell silent. Fear and suspicion filled the room. Daniel stood speechless. Finally, Daniel broke down. "Yes, it is true," he confessed. Gasps filled the church. "I used dark power. I was desperate." Tears streamed down his face. The villagers turned against him. "Witch," they shouted. Stones were thrown. Daniel fled the church he once led. He was now alone, hated, and broken. Determined to end it, Daniel returned to the forest shrine. The air was darker than before. "This ends tonight," he said. The serpent emerged again, larger and more terrifying. "You cannot escape me," it roared. Daniel stood his ground. "I reject you." The ground split, winds roared, and unseen forces clashed. Daniel cried out to God with his last strength. "Help me, Lord." A blinding light filled the forest. The serpent shrieked in pain. For the first time, it began to weaken. Daniel realized the price of freedom, his own life. "If my death will end this, so be it," he whispered. With one final cry, the light consumed the serpent. It dissolved into dust. The forest fell silent. Daniel lay weak on the ground. The curse was broken, but at great cost. Villagers found him and carried him back. But he was no longer the same man. Some forgave him. Others never did. But Daniel accepted his fate. He began again, not as a powerful pastor, but as a humble servant. This time, his miracles were simple: kindness, love, and truth. His story became a warning across villages. Not all power is from God. Daniel grew old, but peaceful. The nightmares were gone. Before his death, he said, "Beware of shortcuts to greatness, for they lead to destruction." And so, the story of the serpent in the altar lived on, a chilling reminder that not all miracles come from light.